Hey, ladies and gentlemen. I went ahead and I tried to check out the New Japan G1 Climax 29 that aired at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, and I just couldn't do it. I set my alarm clock for 5:30 in the morning, turned on my Xbox One, tried watching the show, and yeah, it was an absolute failure. Went ahead and I tried watching it, passed out to sleep, could not see the matches live for the five Block B matches for this tournament for the G1 Climax 29. So I had to catch it later on today. Um, this afternoon I caught it. I started at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Took me about almost 3 hours to watch. And the show was pretty decent. Wasn't as good as the one that happened in Dallas for night one, but night two was a pretty decent show. I had two to three good matches, two of which I had really no care for whatsoever. It wasn't that big of a deal. Um, but let's go into the matches and kind of give you my overall opinion. I don't remember everything that happened in these matches because so much happened at one time in every match. And I don't have my computer open right now to actually see what the results were and read them off to you guys because I'd rather be able to stare at the camera than be staring at the fucking computer and just basically be talking and you guys hearing me talk but not seeing my face staring directly at the screen. So, and I've checked out some of my videos and I didn't particularly like them. And I did see one video where I got 4 dislikes, which I don't know if it had anything to do with my trying to spill out and execute what I was trying to say about the show itself, or it was just that the fact that I was recording the video with me staring at the computer screen the whole time instead of staring directly into the camera. That's not here or there. Let's get into the show and I'll just go over some of the things I do remember, how I felt about the matches, and my overall star rating from 1 to 5. So, starting off with the first match, that was the G1 Climax tournament for Block B. Here it is: Juice Robinson versus Shingo Takanashi. I forgot how to pronounce the name correctly. I think that's how I'm supposed to pronounce it, but if I'm incorrect, I do apologize. Anybody who does follow New Japan Wrestling on a regular basis might know this guy. If not, okay, sorry. Check out the event. It was a decent show. But like I said, it wasn't as good as the night one. Night two was a little bit of a kind of a lay off type of show. I don't know why, but some of these matches were kind of whatever. You could take them or leave them type of deal. This match though was a pretty decent, okay match. It was 3 out of 5 stars. Very solid action. Typical back and forth, solid, stiff matchup between these two guys. At the end of the day, Juice Robinson picked up 2 points by getting a victory from Pulp Fiction, which is Christian's unprettier maneuver. And he got the 1, 2, 3. So solid matchup overall with this match to kick things off to the tournament for Block B. Then we move into Jon Moxley's matchup with this guy called Tachi. Tachi is like a kind of like a Will Shakespeare type of gimmick. He's got old school theater type attire on, and he has a blonde streak right over here on the top of his head with the rest of his hair black. And he actually attacks Jon Moxley when he does his entrance, and the match almost did not start at all. The referee couldn't disqualify anybody because the match never officially started yet, so anything goes at this point until one of them gets inside the ring, which eventually that happened. Jon Moxley performed very well. He was very wild and crazy as usual. That's his wrestling style overall. But he ends up picking up a very good victory, hitting the Death Rider, formerly known as Dirty Deeds, and he hoisted his opponent up off the ground in a DDT fashion and planted his skull into the mat, picking up the 1-2-3. Very decent matchup. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but it was definitely not Jon Moxley's best match. I'll put it to you that way. It was a pretty okay, dry matchup that, I mean, you could take it or leave it. It wasn't that big of a deal if you didn't watch it. But it was great to see him in his very first match in this tournament picking up a victory. And the next match after that, this is by far the worst fucking matchup I have ever seen in any kind of tournament whatsoever. This guy, Toreano, is a full-on WWE No Way Jose type of gimmick. The guy is a fucking putz. He can't wrestle for shit. He is totally 100% entertainment value, and he ain't even that entertaining. He is a fucking idiot. I dislike this wrestler 100%. NATO actually ends up losing this match. This is your IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and he's been in main event matches at freaking Wrestle Kingdom, and you're making him lose to this guy in a joked out fashion. I can understand if the guy was competing against someone, competing against this guy, and he was actually performing seriously. This was one of these WWE type of gimmick matches that you could see on a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown event, and that's where you would find shit like that. This was just horrendous. 1 out of 5 stars. Unbelievably bad match. Thankfully, the match was the shortest match on the entire card. I think it was shorter than any of the tag team matches on this card, and before the tournament actually started. But quite frankly, guys, this was horrendous. It shouldn't have even happened. It shouldn't be on the card. This guy shouldn't even be in a fucking tournament. A guy goes on in other events in the past stealing people's tag team championship belts. I mean, he stole the Gorillas of Destiny's tag team championship belts and ran away with them. Eventually, they got them back and beat his fucking ass in getting them, so thankfully that happened. But this guy's an absolute klutz, and he's completely WWE material. If he learned how to speak English, if he does know how to speak English, WWE should go after him. He'd be great for their fucking sideshow clown show. Anyway, getting into more of the action here. Then we had Jeff Cobb compete up against this guy named Tomohiro Oishi. This guy actually competed for against Kenny Omega back in, I think it was 2018. He competed against Kenny Omega last year for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and he was very good in that matchup with Kenny Omega. This guy reminds me of a Japanese version of Taz. He looks a lot like Taz. He's actually a little bit bigger than Taz. Taz was about 5'8". This guy looks like about 5'11", 6 feet tall. He is a tough son of a bitch. He fucking unloaded on Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is not a small dude. He's a muscle-bound Samoan. He's got muscles and he is jacked. And this guy was whacking the fucking shit out of Jeff Cobb. And Jeff Cobb was not playing it lightly with him either. These two guys were roughing each other up back and forth. This match could have gone either way. At the end of the day, I believe it was... trying to remember who the fuck won the match. Oh yeah, Jeff Cobb lost this matchup to Tomohiro Oishi with a very impressive suplex to Jeff Cobb. And I mean, he stood him up for a few seconds and then slammed him. And that's how the match ended. Now, the ending of the match, I guess, could have been a little bit better. But at the end of the day, when you really look at the entire matchup of overall, this was a fucking entertaining match, and my goodness, these guys really worked each other overtime with the stiff shots they gave to one another. Very impressive matchup. This is the best match on the entire card. The second best match is the one right after this, which was the main event. And this one I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5 stars for such just great, stiff, realistic, authentic wrestling and sporting-like type atmosphere in this matchup. It was unbelievable. Very enjoyable to watch. I definitely would recommend anyone to catch this match again if they haven't already seen it at this point. The last match was the main event, which was Jay White, one of my favorite performers in New Japan Wrestling right now, since Kenny Omega is no longer there in New Japan Wrestling. He lost this matchup to Hiroki Goto. These two guys were very good in the ring as well. They put everything they had in this match. This match was probably better than Jay White's performance with Okada. Okada's match what Jay White had with Okada in the G1 Supercard show was not my cup of tea. It was very slow, lethargic. It really didn't have the same kind of feel I've seen in Okada in previous matchups before in the past. This matchup definitely had everything going for it. They were both very stiff in the ring, like Jeff Cobb and Oishi were to each other in the match before this. And I thought Jay White was going to pick up the victory here. I am surprised that they went with Goto. Goto actually picks up the victory with a GSR. Basically, this maneuver is where he kind of sets you up the same way with a Blade Runner, which is a Sister Abigail move that Bray Wyatt performs in the initial setup of the move. And then he kind of takes his arm and smashes it over your chest. As you fall down, you land on his knee, and he just basically does a backbreaker type of maneuver with his knee to stun his opponent and finish them off altogether, picking up the victory and getting the 1-2-3. Jay White, in several different occasions in this matchup, tried to get the Blade Runner in this match, but could not connect because over and over again, he was countered with every move that Goto, every time he tried to get that maneuver on Goto, he countered it. And I gotta say, this match was a 4 out of 5 stars. Very, very decent main event matchup. I think that was a worthy matchup for the main event. But Jeff Cobb and Oishi, they stole the show in these 5 matches for the G1 Climax 29 Block B tournament so far. I mean, at least in this event alone for night 2 on the G1 Climax. So that's pretty much it. That was the entire show, at least from what I watched and what I cared about watching. The rest of the matches before that were just tag team matches with Block A, having competition in tag team matches, putting all the participants in different tag team matches and so forth, having them, kind of give you a small taste of what to expect from the matches that you're going to see tomorrow night. Which I am not going to be reviewing. I'm not going to be able to review every single G1 Climax tournament, but I will keep my eye on things. I will go ahead and watch these events, but I am not going to give you guys a review each and every time they have their matches and so forth. But I will keep up with it just for my own personal knowledge to know what's going on, who's in what place, and who's got the most amount of points leading into the finals. By the time the finals come up, that is when I will provide you guys my review on that specific event and tell you guys how I thought of the show. Anyway, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to this channel. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, guys.